Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond. My name is Taylor. Welcome to Ex-Zodiac, a game I would love to recommend, but unfortunately I was unable to play it. Now, I was given a review code for this game, rather for the early access of this game, by Press Engine, so thank you to Press Engine, and to the publisher, Pixel Jam, for providing me the code. Now, Ex-Zodiac is an on-rails shooter much in the vein of, Starfox 64 and those kinds of games, which very much focuses on as being an homage to Star Fox 64, which I think is great. I think it's awesome, and I was really excited to try it because I have not played Star Fox 64 in a long time. That being said, much like with Block Fortress 2, I was able to launch the game, and then it would crash. Unfortunately, all I get is the kind of logo for the game engine, and then it crashes. Now, I've tried to fix this multiple times. I have contacted Press Engine, who has then contacted the dev to let him know. By the way, this was made by one person. Their screen name is Minky. I will not reveal their full name. It is on their social medias. It is associated with this game, but that's on the Steam page. So, everything I say, please understand, this was made by one person, a clearly passionate individual, and I think that's incredible that, one person was able to do all of this and has slowly been releasing more and more levels for the game. Now, the reason that I was originally emailed about this game is because it has been in early access since July 21st of 2022 and has slowly been releasing levels. They actually just came out with level 11, which I was supposed to demo for the video. Unfortunately, I cannot do that. Dissimilar to how I handled Block Fortress 2, I looked at trailers, I looked at videos much like I did with Block Fortress, but I want to give more thoughts and opinions on this game, given it's a little more, I guess, mechanically simple than something like Block Fortress. So Ex-Zodiac is, as I said, a twin-stick shooter, but it handles much better than twin-stick shooters of, say, my childhood, or probably many of your childhoods as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to say twin-stick, I meant to say on-rail shooter. It has really interesting visuals flying all over the place, has that kind of hectic and chaotic feel that you would find in many of the kind of more memorable Star Fox levels, and has a lot of really cool visual effects. Again, I watched a couple videos. There was an instance where there were ice pieces kind of flying in the air as obstacles, and then an enemy, as they would fly behind the icicle, you could see the distorted image of that enemy. You can see how the ice would, not refract, but again, distort the image to make you think they were somewhere they actually weren't. I thought that was an awesome visual effect, and I love to see it. I love to see that kind of passion and the level of technology that is used to kind of enhance what, I again played as a kid. One thing I did notice, however, is that the game does not have voice acting, and I was trying to, watch the gameplay, read the little story blips as they came up, and it was very hard to focus on what was being said, and not get shot or not run into something. And the people that I was watching said the same thing. The voice acting would be really beneficial for the game because you could hear what the lines were saying while visually focusing on what's in front of you without having to look at the text box. But again, super small indie game, still in early access, made by one person. I'm not going to go really hard on it. Now, I noticed the game is retailing for, I believe it's $14.49 Canadian, which is an odd pricing, but it's probably about like $14 US, something like that. It is currently on sale, given that it is, the release of the next level, which I think is really cool. I'm questioning whether I think it's an okay price. It's made by one person who's clearly put years, like actual years of time and effort into this. But I did see a video that said, full playthrough, no commentary, from 2 years ago. So there would have been, I don't know how much less content, but certainly less content in the game, and that video is about 40 minutes. Now, I don't think this is going to be a super long game. Star Fox 64, what made it longer was its difficulty. It wasn't necessarily a long, drawn-out narrative. This game, I believe, is going to be similar. The difficulty is what's going to make it longer or kind of extend that gameplay duration, but I have a hard time recommending it at about, $15-ish. I think the $10 price range would be better, given that you're going to get a couple hours out of this, but I don't think $15 is by any means egregious. I think it's completely reasonable, and if you, have a nostalgia for this type of game, you're going to really enjoy it. I do wonder, say, the newer kids, the younger generations, if they're going to enjoy it as much, because they might say, what is this? I don't get it. Whereas my generation and older would have nostalgia for this type of thing. and it's easy to have that nostalgia because this game looks really well done. I've listened to the soundtracks, it sounds awesome, every track really hits pretty well, and I think overall, again, the game is really well designed, but that is me speaking from a purely watching trailers, watching the promotional content, so I have not experienced the game myself. I don't know how well it runs, because it didn't run for me, unfortunately, and I have seen this was a problem a few years ago where the game wouldn't launch, but I have not seen anything in recent times and have not heard back from the developer or from Press Engine about the issue. Again, to try and, have a video about the game, promote the game, do all that good stuff, I am making this one. And I would say check out the game for yourself, I'll link it down in the description below. Check out the videos on it before you try to purchase it, but, understand, you can refund it if necessary. I don't want you to have to purchase, be unable to launch, and then refund the game, but it is a risk. And, that goes along with anything. This is, again, early access, so not full release, and that's okay. Hopefully that bug does get fixed, and if and when it does, I will happily take a look at the game as I am able to play it. With that being said, thank you so much, ladies, gentlemen, everyone between you and for being here. I appreciate you. I do have an actual review coming up for an actual game that I was actually able to play very shortly, so I hope to see you there. With all that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.